them as a core base to set up a technology industrial park and offer Gibraltar as a venue, as a location with international competitiveness for global activity in these very industries that the gaming sector has already attracted to Gibraltar.
And if we can succeed... Where would this park be?
We would have to dedicate, it doesn't have to be a dedicated park, but I think it would help in the launching and the effort to capture, if you like, the herd instinct. If there were a particular identified area where we are attracting technology and IT-related businesses, and if we can pull that off, and our manifesto contains that proposal, if we can pull it off, then we will have added another new string to our bow,
Fabian,
and that would be helpful.
There is some concern that the online gaming industry is already contributing too much to the Gibraltar area and economy, 25% or so?
Look,
if it hadn't come along, what would Gibraltar have put in its place?
The first remote betting license was granted before Peter became Chief Minister in 1996, and he has grown the business very well, and I don't mind giving him the credit for that. I think it's right that we understand that this game is not just about calling each other names. It's about understanding when people have done things right, and we see that the push for quality and not for quantity in respect of gaming companies in Gibraltar has been the right thing to do.
And the idea of an IT park, sort of
if I may,
springboard out of that?
If I may just relate that to Craig's question. Therefore, I think it's important that we understand that it's not that we've got 200 gaming companies in Gibraltar as other offshore jurisdictions, or we are not an offshore jurisdiction, but other so-called gaming offshore jurisdictions may have, and therefore they can have very small operators that are very precarious and who might suffer collapses because there are slight changes in gaming legislation elsewhere. We've got the biggest players in the world here. Now, as a result of that, what we need to do is ensure that we keep keen with the regulations that as they change in other jurisdictions, both in relation to gaming, and that allows me to go on now to financial services. Remember that there are chancellors of the exchequer in all the states of the European Union who every year give up and deliver their equivalents of budgets and try and close loopholes here and there. And what we need to do is to ensure that we remain competitive with our corporate tax product, with our gaming product, to ensure that we plan for those eventualities it is possible to plan for. If there is a collapse of the capitalist system all around the world, it is not possible for anyone sitting on this table to say, if I'm Chief Minister, it won't affect Gibraltar.
Okay. I think the strategy on gaming has to be certainly if the PDP had the privilege of being elected to government, our strategy would be to remain, to ensure that what we attract to Gibraltar are the blue chip operators. We don't want to go down the road of Cyprus or other countries where plenty of people that have been rejected in other countries, or indeed here, have ended up being licensed in other places, in other jurisdictions, because that, I think, first of all, provides an element of business into your jurisdiction that perhaps is not of a blue chip nature, and secondly, I think it tends to over-rely the economy on one particular pillar. Of course, we're going to be susceptible to an international evolving agenda, in the same way as we were in financial services when it all changed, when there was pressures after September 11 about exchange of information that drove a tax and information exchange agenda that affected the financial services. That's why we had to deal with those initiatives with the IMF and FATF in 2001, 2002, because it was driven politically, in the same way as when the Americans changed the law on online gaming. It affected some of our operators, but notwithstanding that, there was growth because
you've got blue chip operators.
The areas are
so
blue chip.
Will you join Fabian in congratulating Peter on the way he's handled?
I didn't quite put it that way.
Yes, you did. What do you mean? You put it exactly that way.
Pieces breaking out in the election campaign.
I accept Fabian's congratulation of the time that I was in the DTI.
I'll take it from both of my opponents tonight
No, but I mean,
that they are delighted that the GSLP before '96 had the vision to grant the first remote gaming license.
Very good. And the IT park idea, is that one that you'd go along with, or
Yes, but look,
tailoring
this is about backbone, and it's also about bandwidth, because I've spoken to operators, especially in gaming, who tell you that bandwidth needs to be robust, that there needs to be different options, and that we need to ensure that our telecoms infrastructure is there if we want to remain at the competitive cutting edge.
It's not about quantity of bandwidth, Keith. There is massive amounts of bandwidth. It's about cost of bandwidth, not amount of bandwidth.
It's about cost, and it was about speed for a long time, but it is principally about cost, and it's about options. This is why I said it's about options on bandwidth, and not only about being robust. And robustness is not reflected only by having a couple of options of getting out of Gibraltar in terms of telecommunications. So certainly we think that there is plenty of scope to maintain the attraction of Gibraltar in financial services and gaming, and further diversify the financial services industry.
If I may, just on the issue of the IT park, see, the way that we envisage the future, IT is everything. It affects gaming, it affects music, it affects television, it affects the way that you buy the books that you read, either if you buy the hard copy or you buy the Kindle edition, if I may say. So the way that we see business developing in the future, software is very much a part of business in the future, but it's a part of all businesses in the future. Even the guys in Main Street don't just need to sell to people who walk in off the street. They can sell to the whole world if we structure the place properly. And that's why we see the need not just to have an IT park, but to deal with all businesses in the same way as you would those that you're trying to encourage. I think it's fundamentally important that we see the future in e-government and software, and how we can use that for the benefit of the business community generally.
It's a rosy future. In Gibraltar, the IT capital of Southern Europe, shall we say, if not the world. Well, fascinating stuff, and some of it went over my head, but most of it I think I grasped, and I thought the stamina of all three party leaders suggests that you're going to have a pretty lively fortnight between now and December the 8th. It's great that they've all been able to be here together, and I'm sure there'll be head-to-heads over the next 14 or 15 days. I won't be around for the election, but the internet is a wonderful thing, and I've been following a very interesting blog written by a guy called Julian Felice, I think, who is a teacher and is writing a very interesting blog on the way that the election's shaping up so far. And as a result of internet coverage and the ability to stream GBC in Britain, I'll be following events extremely closely on the night of December the 8th and beyond. So, gentlemen, many thanks for your cooperation, your skill, your articulacy.
Not a matter of
I think you have to, the rules now decree that they have to shake hands. And
happy to do it regardless of rules.
One thing I was asking, if you picked these up from the GFSB as you came in, if you didn't get to ask a question tonight, the GFSB are actually going to publish a report on tonight's proceedings, and the idea, I think, is to ensure that perhaps some of the commitments that were made on camera tonight will be produced when the new administration takes shape. And if you've got a question to ask or a comment to make, it can be done so on the back of this leaflet and handed in to one of the my lovely accomplices. But anyway, from me, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Yeah.
You've done that wonderfully.